Hi there, welcome to week 5, and we are over the hump, halfway through the course. We're going to finish up our triple bottom line SDG research on the economic SDGs, and then select the innovation idea that we are going to prototype. This week we're going to switch up the order of the assignments. We're going to do our pack-back assignment first for the primary and secondary research into one of the economic SDGs in your setting. And then we're going to focus on building your innovation. Think about the types of stakeholders that you would want to interview to learn about the top community needs having to do with your economic SDG in your setting. Develop at least 2 questions that are designed to elicit the stakeholders' greatest needs and/or their vision of the future. Try to develop questions that sustainable business ideas can help solve at the local level. Ask your colleagues to describe their observations of stakeholders or their experience as a stakeholder. And then create a mind map that shows the stakeholders, the needs and visions, and the solutions that you will brainstorm. The directions are on the next slide, but you may do this by hand on paper or with a mind map template. If you do it by hand, take a photo of your analysis to post. So, how do you create a mind map? Well, write your SDG in your setting in a big circle that you draw in the middle. Draw lines from the center circle and create smaller circles for the people who answered your questions. After you review the answers you get from the observers or stakeholders in the community, then add their different needs or visions in circles on the mind map. Brainstorm possible solutions that you, as an entrepreneur, would be able to develop as a product or service that would help. And brainstorm the technology that you might need. Review your mind map for the idea or ideas that you think are best, and create a unique value proposition. A unique value proposition, or UVP, is a clear statement that identifies the unique benefits that your product or service provides to its customers and addresses the specific needs and pain points of your stakeholders. Your UVP should clearly state the stakeholder, address a big problem that your stakeholders have identified, and highlight the unique benefits of your innovation. Now we're going to turn to Innovation 5. We are at the prototype stage of the design thinking process. This is an individual assignment, even though you'll be putting it in a discussion board. That's so others can get a preview of your innovation. Over the last 3 weeks, you've been exploring problems and solutions for social, environmental, and economic goals. Now, pick an innovation that you think would be most exciting to pursue. In Innovation 5, you'll be building a prototype and designing a pilot that you will be testing next week. So, what is a prototype? Well, a prototype is like a sneak peek or first draft of a product. It's a model that helps you test out ideas and designs before diving into full production. Think of it as a way to bring your concept to life, allowing you to see how it works and gathering feedback to make it even better. The field guide has a lot of great information on this stage. Review the sections in the field guide, like on page 111, determine what to prototype, or on 114, storyboard, 118, role-playing, and 119, rapid prototyping. Next week, you'll be testing your prototype with your colleagues. Once you've determined what to prototype, it's time to build it. You'll build a simulation, a model, or a mock-up, and your goal is to make something tangible that conveys the idea that you want to test. There are many ways to build your prototype, from low fidelity to high fidelity. Take a look at these various types of prototypes. You have sketches or diagrams, wireframes, which might be appropriate if you're designing a website, storyboarding, a non-working model, which can be done with cardboard or clay or other readily available materials, a 3D printed model if you have access to that technology, a video that explains what you're proposing, a role play acting out your solution, or a working model. Think of what would best show your innovation's capabilities to meet the needs and delight the stakeholders, but also a prototype that is doable. For example, you see the last example here of a prototype is a working model. That might not be feasible. Let's look at a couple of examples of what you could do. You can sketch or diagram your prototype. It doesn't have to be a professional drawing. However, you are welcome to use AI to help you sketch or diagram your prototype if you think it'll enhance the clarity of the design. If you're going to use AI, be as specific as possible when you are creating prompts. This is an example of a mock-up that was generated by AI. It looks pretty good, but it's not exactly what I wanted, and I didn't want to spend more time doing this because it kept moving away from what I really wanted. AI can be very frustrating sometimes, but it can also create some really spiffy stuff. Try it out if you'd like. There is an excellent discussion of storyboarding in the field guide, but I ran across a fun idea that you might find useful. Create a movie in your mind that illustrates how your innovation would work. Start with the main point that you want to make. Find a movie moment, a moment within the movie that helps your stakeholders see what you mean. Here are some questions that can help you design your story. First, for the action. Where are we? What is happening? What happens next? Then, the emotion. Who is involved? What is at stake? How does it feel? And for the meaning, what has changed? For example, your story might show stakeholders in your setting before using your solution and after using it. What has changed? You can use PowerPoint to generate your storyboard, or you can try AI. This is an example of AI being used to generate the storyboard. If you do that, you'll want to include the details for each step of the storyboard, like you created with the movie time story. Role-playing is also described in the field guide and is a great way, but not the only way, to have your colleagues try out your product or service. Design the innovation that you want to role-play and assign the necessary role to your colleague. Storyboard your pilot test. Yes, you still need to do some storyboarding. And give your role-playing stakeholders the setting and the description of the innovation. You can use pictures, sketches, videos, or any other methods to help them understand your innovation. Next week, when we test our prototypes, have your colleagues role-play with the innovation and provide feedback. After you've built your prototype, think about how you will measure the outcomes. What is happening when your stakeholders try out your product or service? How do you measure success? Where do you measure the challenges or problems with the prototype? And where do you measure the sustainability impact, i.e., how does it affect the SDGs that you've identified? So, for Innovation 5, you're going to plan your pilot. First, build your prototype. Then you're going to post your prototype, and in doing that, you're going to describe the purpose, the setting, and the stakeholders, how the innovation is supposed to work, how the prototype works, and how you will measure whether your prototype meets the needs or delights the stakeholders. Be sure to include an image or storyboard or video that the stakeholders will test. Next week, you'll be developing a test plan and then test your prototype with your customers. As we go through the next couple of weeks in which we develop a one-page business model and a pitch for investors for our competition in week 8, use the feedback from your tests to improve your innovation. Okay, so let's get going. First, explore the economic side of sustainability. Then, select your favorite, most creative innovation from across the sustainability spectrum that you explored, and build your prototype. I think this is the most fun part of the innovation process, so enjoy your week.